Happy rest day, everybody. This is Jesse Ziegler.
And Quinn Cody.
And this is the KLIM Dakar Rally Daily Show. Shout out to KLIM. Thank you so much for making this rally radio show and podcast and whatever the hell they're called these days happen. It's pretty epic to be here every day, and especially on rest day, because strap in, boys and girls. We got a lot of interviews. We got live videos coming. Well, not live, but we got videos coming from the bivouac. We have updates on the results from yesterday because they've flipped some things around. We got deep info on the NORRA Mexican 1000 race that we want to talk about. We have a deep Quinn and answer section. I've dropped down so many questions from YouTube comments. What else were we going to do?
We got a lot. It's not rest day for us today. That's for sure.
Thank God. I wouldn't have it any other way. I am pumped about today's show. I'm pumped about everything that's going on in the race, and there's plenty to talk about. First of which is results. After yesterday's time penalties applied to Daniel Sanders and Adrian Van Beveren, the organization has taken those off as of sometime in the middle of the night. Flip the standings around. Quinn, what happened?
Yeah, so it looks like basically the ASO just went through and reversed all of the penalties that were accrued yesterday. Mm-hmm. What this did is it took the stage win away from Luciano Benavides and gave it to Adrian Van Beveren.
Right.
It also gave 8 minutes back to Daniel Sanders in the general classification. So that's leaving him with a 15-minute lead on rest day.
That's so big. 15 minutes, he gained 8 minutes back again. That's a considerable advantage now over second place, Tasha Sharina, and Adrian Van Beveren in third. 24 minutes back. That puts our American defending champ still 29.01 out. So he's still in that 30-minute barrier.
Yeah, and I mean, this is this is pretty huge for shakeup. We were kind of questioning it at the end of yesterday's stage and the information that we got from Jordi Villadomes, and sure enough, it looks like the big teams went and petitioned and got their time back. The reason that they gave this time back is because of malfunctioning GPS units and malfunctioning digital roadbooks. So what's going on is the guys are unable to identify the speed zones, either because they don't have the correct mileage on their GPS or their digital roadbook isn't working. One or the other. This is what we've seen already so far in this rally. So the organizer is having to wade through this information, look at GPS data, and figure out how to deal with this situation
and come up with like a accurate result for the day, because we're so used to getting whatever sort of GPS tracking or even just a lap tracking thing in a race today, where you're like, oh, I know what place I got, I know what my lap times are instantly, and this is considerably more complicated.
Yeah,
complicated that more by the digital aspect that they've introduced.
The reality of this situation is that these guys aren't going to intentionally speed through a speed zone,
because they know it'll cost
professionals.
Them. Yeah. It's going to cost them time, right?
Sanders is not going to do it, and I don't think that he probably gained very much of an advantage by speeding through the speed zone. I don't know where the speed zone was or what it was, or if it was entering into a refueling or checkpoint. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they'll put speed zones that maybe the race course goes through a little village or possibly like an archaeological site or something like that, and they'll make you slow down for a couple 100 meters. So probably didn't gain much of an advantage from speeding. Mm-hmm. So they looked at this information and made the call to just eliminate the penalty.
And it was for AVB and Sanders, so it wasn't one team getting all the benefit here. It seems to be fairly equal. In fact, all the penalties are across the board, except for poor Lorenzo Santolino, our previous stage winner. He did get a minute penalty, so he must have really sped. Yeah, really sped.
Maybe he actually
saw it.
Did have a problem, didn't have a problem with his road book. So
an exciting shakeup. Doesn't really change the approach to the race too much, is how we go into stage 6 tomorrow, but just interesting. And we said we didn't want to talk about these stupid electronic things again, and here we are every day. They're making us talk about them, but I think we're done now.
Well, let's hope
for today.
Rest day, the organization regroups and gets this stuff figured out. And we don't have to deal with this anymore on the second week of the race.
We can just go racing. A ton of stuff coming in today. First, let's talk about our sponsors, Rally Navigator, #1 rally navigation software for you to build your own rally roadbook routes, which, if you don't know what that is, it's this. This is what a rally roadbook looks like. Digital or paper, they all kind of look the same. these little pictures and these numbers and everything on there, you can learn what those are with Rally Navigator. I could tell you what they are, but it's not going to make a lot of sense until you know exactly what they mean in a map sense. And Rally Navigator can get you to understand all that gibberish and all those colors.
Yeah, so what Rally Navigator does is it gives you a Google Earth image of, the terrain that you want to ride, and basically you can draw your GPS track of where you want to go, and then you drop a point at a intersection, and it gives you the little tulip note is what those little notes are called on the side, and it gives you the distance, and then it gives you the ability to draw your tulip note in the way that the intersection looks on Google Earth. Mm-hmm. Then you can go out and ride this and see if it actually looks that way from the ground.
Yeah.
Normally, something looks one way from, a satellite, and it looks a lot different on the ground. So then you can go out, and what you can do is make notes in your road book and make changes and modifications, then go back to Rally Navigator and update your road book so that you have something that is rideable from the ground, and you can hand it off to your buddies and have them go out and ride the road book.
Or spin around in circles getting lost like I do.
That's normally what happens.
And it's fun. It's so much fun to build the road book, and it's more fun to follow the road book. So get on that. As soon as you do that, you're going to start getting addicted to rally like we are, and you're going to want to enter some races. Baja Rally is coming up. Those entries are open right now, BajaRallyMoto.com. Pretty exclusive terrain you get to ride in Mexico at Baja Rally, and it seems like a good time. We're looking forward to that. Another race on our radar, NORRA Mexican 1000. We want to talk a little bit more about the NORRA race today because it's really unique in how they're approaching rally racing in Mexico. And, we call it the happiest race on earth. That's one of their taglines, but there's a lot more to it than that inside.
Super cool race, NORRA Mexican 1000. It's April 24th through May 2nd this year. Registration is open. Basically, this is a 6-day roadbook rally from Ensenada to Cabo San Lucas. Yeah. So 6 stages, some really cool terrain. They're actually having separate routes for the cars and the bikes. So the motorcycles will be on one side of the peninsula. Bikes will be on a completely other side of the peninsula. They'll come together in some common bivouacs. But, for the most part, I think that, they keep the bikes and the cars in on separate tracks. There's so many classes. You can ride vintage bikes, you can ride adventure bikes, rally bikes, regular enduro bikes, 3-wheelers, ATVs,
quads. You can bring a quad.
They got a class for you.
Yeah, they're trying to make this. In their words, they're bringing it, the race. They're returning it to the off-road motorsports to its roots. Camaraderie, hot rodding, and fun. The Mexican 1000 Rally is a fully supported on-road, off-road rally open to vintage and modern vehicles. It will be excitement-filled with high-performance driving, incredible scenery, and world-class adventure. That's it. There's a NORRA 500, a shorter loop race from Ensenada to San Felipe and back, but the NORRA 1000 is the big daddy that they're promoting. And just go to norra.com/Mexican1000. It's NORRA. You can learn tons more about it. There's videos up here. There's interviews with Jimmy and, NORRA personalities. There's tons of info, and go to the classes page and see all the different classes you can enter. If you got an old Baja buggy or something sitting around, man, this is a race that you can do.
Yeah, definitely. And if you've never ridden the Baja Peninsula from top to bottom, it's definitely a bucket list item. And, there's so much cool terrain down there, and the people are amazing. It's a really great time.
If you want to stoke that addiction, you can Google on YouTube Chasing Summer, I think is what we're going to send them to get them fired up. Chasing Summer, you can get Quinn Cody in his prime documentary time. Him and Kendall.
Back in the day.
Him and Kendall going down the tip in Baja. It's a great little series Red Bull put out. Man, I'm not going to say how many years ago that was, but it was a long time ago.
Years, yeah.
It's been a while.
So, no, that was a really good time. That was one of the first series on Red Bull TV. And Kendall and I we did a trip every year. We would ride before the Baja 1000. We would ride from, Ensenada to Cabo and back. And it was just kind of like our little tune-up before the Baja 1000. And so really good time. And then Red Bull, kind of heard some of our stories from it and decided to do a series for Red Bull TV. So super cool, fun, good times in our life before
for your real job,
and
internationally
children and everything else. So
And your podcast career really taking off.
Yeah.
It's all about, fueling the stoke for adventure motorcycles, basically in a nutshell. And that racing is a really good form of adventure, especially when you combine the roadbook aspect of it. It's just got all the ingredients for like literally the best time of your life. Also difficult and challenging, right? It's not going to be easy.
Yep. And our buddy Ace Nilsson from High Desert Adventures, he also is offering a Cabo or Tecate to Cabo ride.
Yeah, it's coming up quick. Go to High
small
Desert.
bikes.
Yeah, go to highdesertadventures.net and you can just get on a super rad adventure ride. He also offers rally services, basically support, so like pit support and on-course support during all the major rallies in North America now, which is cool. Shout out to Motominded and Doubletake Mirror. Thanks, guys, for helping us get here. And man, we are here, and it is a big day. And I don't even know where to start with all this exciting stuff. Where do we start, Quinn?
We got a lot. We got a lot to get to. Our buddy Ashley has been giving us tons of information, tons of video from the bivouac today on rest day.
Yes, he has.
We're gonna basically just run through. I mean, we got to the results, so now I think we're just gonna run through a bunch of interviews and give you guys some good info.
Absolutely. I think we should start out with yesterday's now stage winner, Adrian Van Beveren on the HRC Monster Energy Honda Rally team. I always mix those up. I say them in the wrong order every time, but you know who Adrian is. He's been racing rally for a long time, and now he got a stage win after the adjustment yesterday. I haven't watched this yet. I don't know what he's going to say, but I'm excited to learn about how AVB and the Honda team sitting down at rest day.
Adrian Van Beveren, stage winner from yesterday. This is not how I expected to start this interview.
Yeah, feels good. Feels good. I feel it's fair. It's just fair. I really did a good job yesterday. I navigate good. I was on a good rhythm, and I'm just happy that they could see and analyze and make it fair for, I think, everybody. I hope the race is going to continue like this for all of us, for all the brands, all the riders. Make it as sports as fair as possible. It's always important.
We're on site here at the Dakar, and it's very difficult for us to understand what's happened and what's going on. For the guys at home watching and listening to this, it's almost impossible. Can you explain?
I don't want to speak too much about this.
Okay.
Overall, it's not easy for the organizer. We use a new device. We use something new, as you know, and it still needs some development. There is some GPS signal lost and stuff like this, and this can bring some difficulties to navigate normally, let's say. So, but let's say again, I hope for all of us, for all the riders, that this will be as fair as possible, and we need to forget about this and just focus on the race.
Okay, let's do that then. Let's talk about racing. Very hard first week. Can you tell us, but everybody's told us how hard the first week is, so can you tell us more about week 2 and especially stage 6 tomorrow?
Yeah, the first week has been really long. Like almost every day I came back and say, all the amateurs can do. They won't arrive today. For sure they cancel the stage tomorrow. We were talking together how hard we have, how hard it is for us as professionals to arrive, every day to finish. It's it was a long week. We had a lot of rough terrain also, I would say, except the quantity of kilometers. The terrain was really rough, stony, destroy. Not so much terrain where you can rest and just cruise, I mean, not even nothing of that.
And finally, what is the objective for Adrian Van Beveren by the end of this Dakar?
My main goal will be to finish the race happy of myself. That means that I would be able to provide the best Adrian, the best level. All I've been working since years, and try to be good, try to be on this. This will make me happy.
Jesse always complains that when we interview you, you never blow him a kiss at the end. Can you blow Jesse a kiss, please?
2. Pablo.
That's amazing.
Listen, I had a bit of an infatuation with Adrian Van Beveren a few years ago, and now I'm over it. I realize that, my dream is gone. I'm not going to be racing on the same team of him ever. And, he's moved on.
Jesse's blushing over there. Adrian, we got finally got him to blow him a kiss.
Gosh darn it. You got me.
Amazing.
You got me. Thanks, Ashley. Appreciate that. Careful what you wish for out there, people.
This is great stuff.
Yeah. That's just one of them.
Yeah, right.
Who knows what's coming up next?
We got some stats. He's talking about how gnarly this first week was and how rough it was. And these guys, they raced 2,500 kilometers of special so far, and they've covered 3,300 kilometers total. So what we're seeing here is the percentage of special is much greater than it's been in previous years.
Everything's on the clock, man. Every mile. Yeah.
And we're also seeing that average speed is reduced. So average speed has been about 85 kilometers per hour. So 53 miles per hour, which is still fast. But compared to a few years ago when guys were complaining about, how fast it was, we were seeing stages that were averaging 70 miles per hour.
Yeah.
So 53 mile an hour that's a Baja average speed. So Baja 500, Baja 1000, right in that range. So it's definitely a lot rougher, a lot more technical. And, we're not seeing these big open dune valleys where guys are going 160 kilometer an hour, 100 mile an hour for 20 minutes at a time.
Wow. That's really telling. Those numbers are really telling you what happened in this first week of the race. And that's just the timed special average speed, correct? That's not overall liaison and everything else, obviously.
Yeah, that's timed special. So overall liaisons, total mileage or total kilometers is 3,307 kilometers.
Yeah, so really very few liaison sections. We think those are going to probably increase maybe in the second half of the race. I don't know what's going to go on. But wow, that's great data. So yeah, the race is cooking. The race is not as fast as it has been in stages in the past, but a relatively high average speed compared to other races in the world, including the Baja 1000. It's about on pace with that now, but how many Baja 1000s is 2,500 kilometers? It's a lot.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's probably chat with another guy. All right, here's Pablo Quintanilla. You saw him in the background after AVB, so let's hear from the other Honda rider.
Hey, vale. Hey, boys. Quinn, Jesse, and with Pablo. I've even put my my tribute to Pablo on, but today he's gone with the cap, so that's no good. Never mind. Okay. Pablo, here we are. Rest day. This first week has been really bloody hard.
Finally, rest day. Yeah. This first week was super tough. We start the first day, long stage. Then we had the 48-hour chronos, really hard. We did almost 1,000 Ks in 2 days. After that, another long stage, and then we finished the first week with a marathon stage. So it was really tough for the body, for the mind, for the bike. So the rest day was a nice one. Good bed, hot water. So happy for that.
This is your 13th Dakar, right?
Yeah.
Is this the hardest so far?
Every year is super hard. Different, but hard. The difference from this year from the other ones that in the first week we had the toughest stages. Normally we have one or two tough stage the first week, then two tough stage the second week. But I think this year was high level.
What does it mean for week 2? The fact that week 1 was so hard.
Yeah, week 2, maybe the first 2 or 3 days are very tough, but then we have a short day, long distance but short day. Then we have a boucle during the dunes, and the last day is pretty short. So I think this second week we will have 4 difficult days, not 6 like the first week.
The electronic road books. Of course, the paper was getting out of date. No, we all have technology now. But we had problems with Kevin had a problem, Skyler's had a problem, Daniel's had problems. When they don't work, you don't see the speed limits. You also don't know where to go. So when I think Daniel had to have his times averaged between 2 other guys, Tosha and Skyler. what do you think about all this? What should we do? Because we don't want to go back to paper, right? But could you not have a spare one or a phone or something if it goes wrong?
I mean, the paper always will be more safe. You know, if you crash or whatever, you have the paper. You can move with your hand. Even you can stop and you see where you have to go. Now with the tablet is tough. You know, I think the technology is not accurate right now at this moment. Many issues with many riders, and sometimes can be not fair. You know, it's difficult to know where exactly the tablet had a problem, for how long, if the rider get lost because of the tablet or get lost because of a bad decision. So I think at this moment, I mean, the system of the tablet is really good. It's easier for us. The function also is good, but I mean, we still have to develop the better way. Maybe in the future we have a correct tablet. For me, at the moment, I didn't have any issues, so I cannot say that I have problem with the tablet. But my teammates had problem. Other teams also have problems, so it's strange. You know, it's strange. Also, it's the first year with a tablet. I think RTF need more time to develop the tablet, but yeah, it is what it is, and we are here to race, not to complain.
Last question. What do we expect to see from Pablo Quintanilla in week 2?
I will give my 120% this second week. It's more my kind of terrain, more open desert. The first week I was struggling a little bit with the terrain, with the rocks, with the dust. So I think this second week I can do much better. So I'm full motivated, full energy to do my best.
Good man. Thanks, Pablo.
That's great stuff. Good insight.
Yeah.
He's sick of talking about road books too.
Yeah. What a legend. I mean, 13 Dakars, still
Great.
on the factory team. Like really solid dude.
Yeah, great insight from somebody who definitely has the experience to back up his comments, and you know he's telling it like it is. But yeah, it's going to be exciting to see him turn it up in the second half of the race as it gets more open. It's more like his kind of terrain. And I think a couple guys are looking forward to. Well, everybody's looking forward to it probably.
I mean, Pablo, Chilean rider, really good in the dunes. You know, the Chileans, him and Nacho both have the dunes in Chile are massive, and it's kind of all they have to ride is this big open terrain. And so those guys are solid. And as we look at this second week, stage 6 is massive. Everyone's saying, oh, it's going to be easier. It's going to be easier. Stage 6, they go out straight into a 600-kilometer special.
Boom.
So, I mean, it's gnarly. It looks, sandy, gravel tracks, rocks, whatever the organization's claiming. But it's, and then the liaison on top of that is there's another 220 some kilometer of liaison after the on each end of the special. So it's 829 kilometers they have to ride tomorrow.
Yeah, and Pablo said there's going to be maybe 4 hard days next week, and definitely the first one's one of those.
Yeah.
They're starting off with a doozy.
Straight away.
Those are our factory racers that we have today. Thank you so much, Ashley. Like, you're crushing it on rest day, getting us this, very exclusive, awesome content, and really tuned to our readers and our viewers and our listeners. Thank you so much. We have a few other personalities we want to talk to.
Yep.
First up, I got James Hillier, video from James Hillier. He's a Isle of Man TT racer, and like one of the top ones. Like, he's winning Isle of Man TT. Our mate Rennie here at Cycle News, who's raced TT a few times, knows who James is, obviously. And I sent him a message saying, hey, I got James Hillier interview. Are you jealous? And he's like, oh, dude, that's cool. So,
I mean, James, he's finished on the podium at Isle of Man.
Yeah.
Am I correct? And how many?
14 times he's won a class. It says he has 70 starts. So I think that's 70 class starts because they do multiple classes. But if you don't know anything about the Isle of Man TT, it's insane. It's absolutely mental. So if to go do it 70 times, you're on another level. And also to race the Dakar Rally, maybe not the most sane thing in the world to do, but this homeboy, this is his second time doing it. He did it in 2023. He did the Malimoto class. So he's raced Isle of Man TT and the Malimoto class, and he got like 13th overall in the Malimoto class in 2023. So this guy's got some serious street cred as far as I'm concerned. Next to Daniel Petrucci, who's raced MotoGP, won a stage Dakar, and now he's in a garbage truck. James is probably my second favorite person in this rally now.
Well, we're here with James Hillier at the WTF Racing truck, and we're going to have a look around everything that's going on. Hi, James. Thanks for having us.
No worries.
What was the thought process behind WTF Racing? Is it an abbreviation for anything, or?
Well, yeah, I think on paper is we're the future, and the plan is to kind of run things environmentally friendly as we can with they offset a lot of carbon output and stuff. So, which is quite interesting when you get into all that side of things. It's joking aside, I think it is important to look after the future of motorsport. With there's plenty of do-gooders in the world, and I think if we can keep them away from hassling us too much, and protect the future of the sport, because it's just a pretty cool thing. Any form of motorsport. So I'm not a fan of the electric scene yet. So yeah, long live the combustion engine, I say.
I was not expecting you to say we're the future of racing, but I quite like that. It's quite clever. Now, I first met James 2 years ago because I commentate. Actually, Jesse and Quinn, I don't think you know this. I commentate on the Isle of Man TT races. The guys doing this podcast, James, are based in the States. I'm guessing they've heard of the Isle of Man TT. Can you tell me what are the big differences between doing the TT, which is in itself an insane thing to do, and then coming here to do the Dakar, which in itself, by the way, is an insane thing to do?
Yeah. I'm starting to sway towards the Dakar being more insane.
Okay, so you better tell people what the TT is, just in case they don't know.
Okay, so 2 weeks, that's a similarity on a small island in the North Sea between the UK and Ireland. It's nearly 38 mile lap of closed public roads, A roads, so no dual carriageways, it's all single carriageway, pretty gnarly road race. Ran since 1907, so I think it is the oldest running motorsport event in the world. A little like Dakar, that it's hard to explain until you see it. It looks pretty gnarly when you watch it on YouTube, but in reality is just off the scale. So
because there's no speed limits.
No,
that's the other thing.
No. Well, no. It's we average. My best is 132 mile an hour per lap, which is pretty quick considering how slow we do go in some places to get through some of the tight hairpins. A lot of sections we're averaging 145 plus mile an hour for some time, and
it's miles per hour, boys. Miles per hour.
Yeah,
they average it.
Yeah. The longest race we run there is 6 laps with 2 pit stops at the end of every second lap. About an hour and 40 minutes, one race. So, and over the 2 weeks, we have a week of practice and then a week of racing various classes, 600 and 1000 cc superbike. So, it's a pretty crazy event. But if you like going fast and motorbikes, then that is bliss. That for me is that's my Christmas, I suppose. Now I'm some sort of grown up, or should be a grown up. It's a special place. And then in the winter time, come to play here in Saudi Arabia in this other extreme event, the Dakar. So, although I will say I did this in 2023, I'm pretty certain in saying that it stepped up this year in 25 is pretty gnarly in terms of the distances. Terrain's quite similar. Yesterday's stage I recognised from my last visit. Enjoyable in places and sheer hell in others, but it's that roller coaster of emotion and energy loss and lapse, and then highs and lows, tiredness. It's a true test on stamina and determination.
And you had a particularly interesting incident the other day. I can see a scar on your nose.
Yeah.
We've seen the pictures. We've seen you Obviously not being able to stop the blood and everything else. Just take us through what happened that day and how you got out of it, what you're doing now if you're not left in the race anymore, and why on earth, given that happened, you would carry on.
To be honest, the Dakar this year didn't start well at all. We had some problems in the shakedown day with the bike, so we were chasing our tails a little bit. And then we were plagued, like all the team bar one, we'd been hit with this horrible flu. And for the prologue, I was particularly ill and like literally got out of bed to do the prologue, then came back, went straight back to bed, and then just soldiered through stage one, or most of stage one, until 290. And you know, I never came here with aspirations to try and get a crazy finish, a top 30 or 20, or you know, I just wanted to tick the days off and get to the finish again. So I was quite complacent. I'd been overtaken by a few guys, but I was happy with the pace. I wasn't trying anything, and just caught a rock that I didn't see, and it was more of a boulder than a rock that was buried in the sand, and it just pitched the bike, lifted the back wheel and sent it sideways. And when it came down, it was crossed up and kind of slammed me and head first into the sand and smashed my nose bad. So, and the downside of that was, well, there's no upside.
The downside of that was?
The biggest downside of that was because I was ill, I'd taken some tablets. Aspirin was one of them because my head was so congested. But the blood then my nose wouldn't stop bleeding for hours, you know, and at the time was a hard pill to swallow to
the aspirin?
Accept. Yeah, I mean, no, that was it was like orange flavour. The aspirin was pretty good, but
sorry, man, I can't resist it.
The pun, yeah. Yeah, it was tough to have to sit out, but honestly, with the illness, I think I would really have struggled on that chrono stage anyway, with my energy levels and so it was kind of a bit of a blessing in to get 2 days rest. So I feel like I've cheated a little bit, but there's no way we put the effort in to even get to the start. But you know, I don't want to let myself or the team down. We're here. I want to try and enjoy the rest of the rally and continue riding. So, you know, it's a long year to wait again, and one day later in life, I would do anything to come back to this opportunity and be able to ride a bike in Saudi Arabia. So, yeah, we chipped through and missed stage 2, the chrono, then continued from stage 3, and then the marathon stage, which was tough. Like, definitely feeling the organisers have upped the ante a bit here this year, and you can kind of see it in the other riders' faces. It's hard. So, but we don't want it easy. I was like, I question myself and my choices a lot in the last few days while I'm riding, and as to quite why I do this to myself. But if I'm honest, that's why I come. What I kind of like on the Dakar is the levels it takes you. You question your own sanity, and yeah, still trying to. You learn a lot about yourself here. So, and I'm smiling saying that. So, I'm getting something from it.
Good man. Thanks a lot, James. Good way to end. Cheers, man.
Nice message there from James.
Good stuff. So
keep going.
We saw some of the video on social media from the organization, from the Dakar, and you know, James had busted his nose open and was just bleeding all over the place, and people were stopping trying to help him, and you know, he had a rough go that day, and you know, he's one of those that has benefited from this re-entry to the race. So he was able to sit out a day or two, kind of regroup, and then now he's back in and he's continued on.
Yeah,
so,
super cool. Rally 2 competitors, if you miss a stage, you can enter back in. You don't get a finisher medal. You don't get to actually technically finish, but you get to ride as much as you can because you're already there.
Yep.
They already paid for your food, so they let you stay there.
Experience class.
Yeah, and like he said, it's a long year to get back there again. And he goes, if he didn't keep riding, he knew one day after he left, he'd be like, why did I leave? I should have just stayed there and rode.
Yeah, you beat yourself up for that for sure.
Yeah, what a competitor. And man, those Isle of Man stats, 132 mile an hour average. Average
speed of
132
mile an hour.
Yeah, Rennie's got some great videos. If you guys want to see some firsthand footage on our YouTube channel for Cycle News, you can follow Rennie's Pike Peaks, or his Pikes Peak stuff is crazy too. But the Isle of Man TT stuff that Rennie's done in the last few years is pretty epic and frightening, if I'm going to be completely honest.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain races that are in this classification of like insanity, and you know, I always thought that the Baja and Isle of Man were very similar.
Yeah,
you know, Baja, you're racing on open roads with two-way traffic, and you know, and these guys at Isle of Man are racing, you know, on closed roads, but no safety barriers. There's rock walls, there's buildings. They're brushing elbows against the corners of buildings and
jumping,
everything else, jumping on street bikes.
Yeah. It's real, and in today's world where there's a lot of non-real things, it's refreshing to see, you know, people out there doing this stuff, and that's cool. Nothing's more real than the original bimodal class at the Dakar Rally, in my opinion. And Ashley caught up with Javi Vega, who we talked to last year for a bit, for a little tour of the original bimodal, you know, bivouac, what they get, how they live and work on their bikes and do all that fun stuff in the, you know, unsupported class, the real men and women of this race.
So this is the paddock where the original bimodal, what used to be called Malmotor, guys all spend their days and nights when they're not actually racing or asleep. Not that they get to do that very much. Getting ready for the next day's stage. And here in front of us we have number 99, Javi Villas. Hey Javi, how are you?
How are you? Good. And you?
Today was a rest day.
Yeah.
But I've seen you working on this beautiful machine literally the entire day. What's been going on?
For original, I think it's not the rest day. It's the day for mechanic. It's for the replace all the brake, change the tires, cloner, change, all.
Everything you did.
Yeah.
Now, Javi, tell us, because I can see a red box down here.
Yes.
So the red box, if I'm right, is the only box that you're allowed to bring on the rally. Is that correct?
Yeah. This category is only with this book. This caja, this box, 110 and 6 tires.
Okay. And this year the rules have changed, right? So you're only allowed to bring 6 tires this year.
Yeah, only. And las marcan.
Yeah.
Sing with your number.
Okay.
And all days in the morning, see you is good tires.
Okay, so each one has numbered.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you show us what's in your box?
Yeah.
Show us around the box, shall we?
Oh, sorry, my box is nada. Here is filters, herramientas. I have a box with Eco GPS, and here have oil, cams, brakes, all time. And here is a paper with etapa de
Descanso,
rest day, and today is clean the filter, oil change, tires, and this is my checklist.
Okay, so you've made that list yourself, of course.
Yeah.
And how far down that list have you got so far today? Everything or not? You did everything on the list?
Yeah. Everything. When you finish the stage here, and I check my checklist. Yeah.
Okay. Tell me one thing that you wish you could have more, but you're only allowed what's in the box.
This?
Yeah.
Jamon.
A nice Spanish ham.
Wine.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Good stuff. Thanks very
Thank
much,
you,
Cody.
bro. Ciao.
There you go. Abu Vegas. Beautiful bike that he's working on for tomorrow's stage.
Very cool, huh?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's Quinn's dream someday.
Oh, yeah, Malimoto. Dream or a nightmare? I'm not sure, but
It's your dream to get the chance to do it, and a nightmare when you're there. That could be the new slogan for Dakar: a dream and then a nightmare.
pretty cool stuff. And we had some really good video. If you're listening to the podcast, Javi's, he's there. He's on a cove, which is really cool. And it seems like that bike is really good for these Malimoto guys because, some of the amateurs, because it's really kind of I think a pretty easy bike to ride. And, it seems like reliability for these guys has been really good.
Yeah. I've ridden this bike in the US in I think it was slightly pre-production model. I didn't get a new one from a dealership or anything like that, but Gary from Cove met us out at Page, Arizona, and Sean and I took it for a rip for an afternoon, and it was really fun to ride. Suspension, stock components were capable. Like I could ride it across any desert I felt like riding. Engine performance seems reliable. It's got a really old, well-established engine platform in it, that's not on the leading edge. It's not something they just made up. It's like a really old sort of proven platform, and the bike is comfortable. And honestly, like as far as an entry point, like barrier to entry, this thing is limited so many of those or lighten those up because it's so inexpensive. I mean, 10 to 15 grand, you can have a competent bike that can complete the Dakar Rally, which like that's just unheard of. Like we're talking double that at least for anything that's used probably in the world. And Javi, if you remember last year, he was the only guy in the whole rally, like I think on a Yamaha. He still had a Yamaha built rally bike that I don't know how he got the parts for and how he built it, but he was the only guy. He's been a Yamaha guy for a while, but it's cool to see him, get adopted by the Cove family here and represent that bike. And last year there was quite a few of these bikes in that class too.
Yeah. And, the other thing he said, he's got his marathon box, which is just a small little red box.
Yeah.
A few parts in there. He's allowed tent, sleeping pad, and 6 tires.
Yeah, that's it.
Spare set of wheels.
Yeah, they provide the oil and chemicals you need to clean your filters and do oil changes and stuff like that and lubricate whatever you need to do. They have Motul, obviously, is in charge of that. But that's it, man. That's the real deal. You're on your own.
Yep. And the other thing we notice is Javi's running Dunlop tires.
Yeah, it's cool to see a different tire brand in there. Yeah.
Yep. So he must have a deal with Dunlop, and he's able to bring his own tires for the Malimoto class. And that Dunlop Rally Raid tire is a really nice tire. I mean, that's the tire I ran when I raced Dakar, however many years ago that was.
Not old enough for them to change the tires.
Yeah,
the same tire.
We still run that tire on the adventure bike sometimes, and it's a solid tire.
Super cool insight to the Malimoto original by Motul class.
Yeah, and Javi's he's a free skier, right? He's like
that's his,
I think professional free skier, and he's just obsessed with rally.
This is a trend we keep seeing. Everybody that does this race is really good at other things. And they generally have a profession that's something else that is not an easy thing to do, or a very specialized like athletic endeavor, or even a specialized business endeavor, something that is off of the normal spectrum of 9-to-5 jobs. And they are also here racing this race, which is cool to see.
I think we have a little audio clip. Jake Augubright sent us an update from Americans, so we always want to make sure we keep up with the American competitors as much as possible.
What's up, Quinn and Jesse? It's about 5:15 in the evening here on rest day. I'm waiting to go get some dinner at 6, but so far my rally's been pretty good. I think it's the best I've ever done so far, so I'm happy. I've stayed relatively healthy. The navigation is tough this year. I've really kind of struggled with finding a balance between pushing and navigating. I tend to push at the wrong times and navigate at the wrong times, if that makes sense. So I'm just trying to, iron out those little mistakes. But the bike's been really good. They made some changes from last year. I really enjoy it. The team's been great. The chrono stage was amazing. It was a really long stage. I think I was on the bike for 9 hours, which is, I think, the longest I've ever done. So that was cool. And yesterday on stage 5, I had a pretty good crash. That could have been worse. Ended up just hurting my shoulder and my arm a little bit, but I got it worked out today. So the rest day has been much needed. I'm looking forward to a little bit more sandy conditions. I grew up in rocks. I love rocks, but I'm ready for some sand and some dunes. The bike feels really good there. It's a more, techie dune stuff. So I'm excited for where we're going and happy and healthy and ready to push for the second week.
All right, good stuff from Jake Augubright. Yeah, he's and Jake's having a really strong ride. This is his third Dakar, so now he's got some experience under his belt, and I think he's sitting in third in Rally 2 competition. So it'd be amazing if Jake could knock off a podium.
That would be cool. And yeah, hopefully he gets into that fast stuff and his bike keeps working on that RS Moto Honda CRF 450 RX Rally. I rode the 25 450 RX yesterday. It was pretty fun. A lot of bike. I can't believe people need faster bikes than those.
Nice.
450s are cooking.
And we're having live updates come in as we speak here. So
more
it looks like
more.
We've got an interview with Sandra Gomez.
Oh, sweet.
Which is really cool. Ashley got us dialed in here.
Let's get that queued up for you.
Sandra, it's nearly the end of the rest day at Dakar 2025. The first week was very easy, no?
Well, the rest day has been like the shorter day. So, well, I did my best also resting. The first week has been tough, but thinking now I really enjoy it. I really enjoy every day. The 48 hours was amazing to be sleeping there with all the people from the cars, the trucks, everything. And also the marathon day was 2 days super interesting. For me, riding started a little bit, let's say, slower, but adapting myself to the terrain, the bike, everything, and now feeling much better. So let's see how it continues.
Has the first week been more challenging or more enjoyable?
Both. I had one day super challenging mentally. I was losing the mind, not focused on the numbers, losing the numbers, and also my eyes with all the sun from the first days were super bad. I couldn't see super good, but also enjoying. Honestly, the rocky part from yesterday was tricky, was a little bit of enduro, and I enjoy it.
Do you mind showing us your bike? Is it okay? Can we look?
Yes,
okay, let's have a look. Show us around your bike a little bit.
It's like not 100% right now, but they are doing an amazing job. The bike, I didn't have any problem with it, and only I had a crash 2 days ago. I came with the handlebar a little bit bad, but nothing crazy. The bike is treating me good.
And I love that you're the number 100 as well. That's it's cool,
funny.
No?
I like to.
What do you think about the fact that you're the only female in the bikes class? There's never loads, but this year only you. Why is that? And why is it so important?
I don't know why it's wild. If I knew, I do something. No, I don't know. I'm pretty sad, let's say, being only me, and I don't know. Let's take a time, everybody, to think why and try to make something to change it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Sandra. Thanks for your time.
See you.
Awesome. Bonus, we get to see the Fantic up close that we've been wanting to see.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Love seeing that from Sandra Gomez. And, she's sitting in 51st overall in the general classification. So
dang,
she's
ready, ripping. Yeah,
she's ready to break into the top 50, which is amazing. And, really good stuff from her. And unfortunately, this is our only female competitor this year. Right. Dakar's it's hard. Like I said, it's just getting to the starting line of the Dakar is very difficult. And, I think it's challenging for women to find sponsors and find money and
for sure,
be able to get there. But
I mean, the enduro background that she has clearly gives her the street cred to do these sort of things. But even to get into legitimate enduro teams or legitimate off-road teams in a lot of places in the world, they just don't exist for women. Like, you have to be a really fast motocrosser to get noticed, and then maybe you can get to an enduro team or something like that. But the opportunities out there, there's just not as much. And even here in the States, it kind of goes up and down with the Women's Motocross League. Like, it's getting a little bit of a revamp again the last 2 years, but I mean, it used to be fairly mainstream, and then it just kind of drops off. And like, the support for the women in the sport isn't always there. And unfortunately, this is what happens: is you get a wave of, last year we had more than this competitors. We had Kristen Landman racing the original by Motul class, and and then now it's dropped off again. So hopefully more women get inspired by Sandra, get out there and race it too.
Yep. Very cool.
I think this is a good segue into some Q&A questions.
Okay.
Quinn and answers coming in hot today.
Let's do it.
We got this, then we got a story at the end. So after Quinn and answer, we're going to sign off, and we're just going to leave you with an audio story from a man that has a story.
Yes, he does.
All right, first up, Quinn. These aren't going to be easy questions today. We're getting serious here. What is the criteria for the speed zones, like the organization? You already touched on this, but just clarify. Hey, what is a speed zone and why is it there?
So there's speed zones on all of the liaison stages. So you're under speed limit on the highway, transferring between special stages. There's speed zones coming in and out of, or usually into refuelings. They'll usually run a little short speed zone there. Sometimes you'll race through a small village or something out on the course, and they'll put a speed zone in that area. Got it. The other thing is maybe archaeological site or a sensitive area. They'll make everyone slow down and transfer through for a couple 100 meters.
Copy.
And then resume. Or if the race course jumps onto the pavement, maybe for 200 yards or a mile or something. And then, of course, the overall speed is limited to 160 kilometers per hour.
No matter where you are on course.
Yeah. Roughly 100 miles per hour. And the top teams have speed limiters. At least KTM and Honda factory bikes, probably Hero, are all drive-by-wire. Mm-hmm. So they're able to use the GPS to control the speed. So they're reading speed from their own GPS, and when they get up close to 160 kilometers per hour, it backs the fuel off, it closes the throttle a little bit, and it just keeps it right under 160. Mm-hmm. The customer bikes, so the guys that are purchasing bikes from KTM, those are not drive-by-wire. They're standard cable throttles. Okay. So they have maybe a light or something on the dashboard that kind of warns them when they get up closer to 160, but they have to, manage it themselves.
Okay. And on the other speed zones that aren't the max one, it's a note in the road book and a warning, and a warning system. And then that is determined, and it's a different speed limit every time. It's not just
it can be
average.
30 kilometers per hour, 60, 120.
Depends on the sensitivity of the
area. The factory bikes have a button, and they push the button. I think you push the button once, it's 120. Push it twice, it's 60. I'm kind of
making that up,
generally making a general thing, but you push this button and it limits your speed. So in theory, the guy comes in, he sees the speed zone, he pushes the button on his handlebar, and the speed is limited to that. Again, this is exclusive to the factory teams that are running a drive-by-wire system. So electronic throttle versus cable throttle.
Got it. And, that's interesting. Yeah. More buttons for them to deal with.
More buttons, yes. They got a lot of buttons. If we get a close-up of the dashboard on these things and the handlebars, you can see there's just buttons everywhere.
The second question is similar. The speed on the liaison, do a lot of guys just go as fast as they can through the liaison to get it over with? Or are they just like, whatever, it doesn't matter when I get there because I got another hour to wait when I get there?
I mean, we kind of answered that with the last question, but yes, you're limited by what the organizer sets the speed limit to. And normally 120 is the maximum speed, 120 kilometers per hour. So, roughly 65 miles per hour, 70 mile an hour, maybe max speed. So you're going pretty slow, and you're sitting there for a long time on these liaisons. And you're just like,
there's no way to speed that up for them.
No, you're not going to make it much faster. And you stop there's refuelings on these liaisons. Sometimes you'll pull into a gas station, refuel, you'll get, a hot dog or Coke. maybe a coffee.
Oh, man. Any more rest days for these poor racers?
Nope, this is the only rest day.
How much is a moto entry fee to race the Dakar Rally?
Ooh, currently, I believe the entry alone for the rider is somewhere around 15,000 euros.
Okay.
Just for the rider. Then I think it would be a very similar price for the mechanic. If you have a mechanic, any assistance personnel also has to pay an entry fee. Every vehicle sent has to pay an entry fee. So if you have a motorhome, a support truck, a support car, each one of those has to pay a certain amount to be a part of the race. And then all the assistance personnel also have to pay. So it gets very expensive very quickly.
Wow. Yeah. You can look that stuff up, I think, on the website during registration.
Yeah.
If you want to race.
When you're signing up.
But start saving money now.
Yeah. I can tell you that if you want to race a Dakar, you should have $100,000.
Yeah. That'll get you there, huh?
Yep.
Wow. Okay. The last question, and this is very personal. So this is hard-hitting journalism. Ooh. Does Quinn ride recreationally outside his R&D work on dual sports or adventure bikes? Is it still fun if you do? And if so, what's your go-to ride?
Ooh, that's a good question. It for sure, it's still fun, right? Every time, even when I'm at work testing, every time I throw my leg over the motorcycle, I find some fun in it, right? Just, starting the engine, feeling the power, everything, right? You getting some thrill out of that. I do ride sometimes recreationally, but, time is the biggest factor, really. It's like I'm riding at work a lot of times all week. Sometimes, it kind of ebbs and flows. So I'll go through months where I'm doing a ton of testing and I'm just burned out and I don't want to see a motorcycle when I get home. And then I'll go through other times where, I want to go riding on the weekends, but, kind of my go-to weekend activity right now is just hanging out with the kids and riding bicycles normally. So not a lot of riding on my free time, but I do. And
you just raced the Takata Enduro.
Yes.
Though. You just crushed it out there representing.
I did. I had fun with that. And, I think for me, what's keeping it fun right now is riding two strokes again. So I really enjoy riding two strokes, and, we've had some fun projects, exciting projects going on with off-road bikes. So, it's allowed me to get back on two strokes and feel like I'm a 14-year-old kid again. And,
nice.
Enjoying it.
All right. Great answer. Good job. Thank you, everybody, for the Q&A questions. They've been crushing it. We're getting lots of good info out there, hopefully, that you want to hear. Now that's awesome. That's us talking. We're done talking today.
We are done talking. We're going to wrap up our rest day show. This is quite a long one. We got lots of good content, but we're going to leave you with a story, just an audio clip from a gentleman who has had quite an experience so far in this Dakar.
This is Dennis Mildenberger. He lives in Switzerland. I think he's German. He lives in Switzerland. Mm-hmm. He's got a story. So let's just hear his story. We're going to try to find a picture of him to put up for people on YouTube and just enjoy Dennis's adventure, because it's been a pretty wild one, starting really early in this race at this 48-hour chrono. So thanks again for watching, listening.
See you guys tomorrow.
See you guys tomorrow.
All the stories that we get every year at the Dakar. At the moment, it's only the rest day one, but at the moment, your story number one. Can you tell us, first of all, about your week as a whole, without the specifics of the difficult days? How do you feel after week one?
Yeah, to be honest, the week in Dakar is much harder than I expected. So all the stories I heard in the past, they've been really coming true. And let's say I had the strategy really not to crash. So I was going slower than in the previous rallies, and that catched me bad, because on the 48-hour chrono stage, I really ended up in the dunes. I didn't even make it to the first bivouac. And I suffer from this point of time, because I've never been able to really fully recover from these very long days. So, but I made it. So I completed the first week, and I'm really glad for the rest day to fill up the batteries again. But
can you tell me At what point during the first day of the 48-hour chrono you realized you weren't going to make it to any bivouacs?
Let's say quite early when I saw the progress. I had planned the training of these dunes, but it was totally different to all the sand I'd ridden in the past, and I lost almost 1 hour to get really used to this very soft sand here in Saudi Arabia. And I recognized it very early that I will not make it to any place. So I was driving as fast as I could and took every kilometer and took it where I ended at the end. So that was the only thing I could do.
So you realize you're not going to make it, and then in your head, are you preparing? Okay, I need to find somewhere to sleep in the sand, or what?
Let's say I'm on the mind-wise, I'm very good, so I didn't bother too much. It was really my plan to continue to go as fast as I can, as far as I can. And yeah, unfortunately, my finish point wasn't a dune. It was getting then really, really dark, and it's impossible in this soft sand when you don't see any lines or let's say shapes to continue. So I had to stop. It was getting too dangerous. Unfortunately, bad place to stop.
And then what did you have with you when you stopped in the dunes? You're not at a bivouac. You know that the tents and the food and everything is at the bivouac. What did you have with you, and what did you do?
Let's say I have a military and mountaineering background. I had a little bivouac sack with me. It's basically like a rescue blanket, but as a sleeping bag, it's very thin, and a little headlight, and that saved me. So the first 4 hours, I think I covered in this bivouac sack, and it helped a lot. It was not, or let's say it was manageable cold in this, but I never felt alone. So it's really nice from the organization. They take care. You can call them. You don't, even if you are alone, you don't feel alone, and you are not really scared. So it was nice that they at least stood with me on the set phone.
And sometimes they will deliver from a helicopter a tent or some food. Did they offer that to you? Did they do it?
Let's say I was running out of water, so that was the thing I requested, that I needed water, and I was super grateful that they said no problem, we will take care of you, and they brought water. And to my surprise, they didn't even only bring me water, they brought everything by the helicopter: a tent, a sleeping bag, a mattress, food. So it was the full care package, and that was really a good motivation boost to get this stuff. Unfortunately, in the dunes, let's say it all with the downwash of the rotor was, let's say, separated in a circle of 50 meters. But this little headlight really saved me to find all these different pieces all over the place, collected together, and then set up my little dune camp.
Okay, so I'm here in the bivouac, and I look up at the stars, and I think, wow, there's nobody here. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I can see all the stars. But you really were in the middle of nowhere all alone. Tell us what the experience is like of sleeping really under the stars.
It sounds a little crazy, but I was not scared because I know I was not alone, and I thought about my childhood dream, Dakar, and really to experience this dream in that kind of manner. And I only put out the inner layer of the tent, so I was able to see the stars and lying there inside and think about the things what I did bad, about the things what I did good. And yeah, so it was not as bad as it probably sounds. It was experience I will certainly remember for my lifetime.
What are the sounds that you hear at nighttime in the desert?
I tell you, the nicest sound I heard was it was just after 4 hours, really also falling asleep a little bit when I heard the rotor of the helicopter. It was such a nice, amazing sound when I heard these blades. So I crawled out of the bivouac sack and saw the lights. So I switched on my headlight that they could see me better, and that was a super amazing sound. Beside that, afterwards, was not, let's say, scary or creepy that you had strange noise or animals. It was basically wind and very quiet later on. But the helicopter sound was amazing.
Okay, so that's the first night of the 48-hour chrono. What about the next day?
Yeah, the next day, honestly, this was really tough. I can swallow a lot of pain, but this tested me to the core. It was 650 kilometers. I had to compensate on the second day a lot from the first day, and it was a very long day, and never happened in my life I had to stop in the night. I had to drive a few hours in the night to get to the bivouac, to lay on the ground for 5 minutes again. The organization always called, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Sorry, I need to rest." And after 5 minutes, I picked up the bike again and continued. But this was a very tough day, the toughest so far for me.
So that's day 2 of the 48-hour chrono. What time did you arrive at the bivouac in Bisha, and what time did you have to start again for the next stage 3?
I think at the bivouac I arrived somewhere around 11:30, and next morning at 5 you start to prepare again for the next day.
But you had to mend the bike and check everything first, no?
Fortunately, the Nomadas team is really taking care of these things, so I didn't have to change oil filter and stuff like that. So this was done by them. They really nurse you. They bring you some food, and let's say at least I was taking care of me here at the camp. That was nice.
So then we have stage 3. Tell us about stage 3.
Yeah, surprisingly, it went well. Even if I thought a lot of the energy was gone, but this few hours of sleep helped me to recover. In general, I recover quite fast. So this day was not so bad. I also changed the strategy to, let's say, increase the speed a little bit more. So the next day was quite okay.
So stage 3 went well, and then boom, stage 4 and 5, marathon. First day of the marathon.
Yeah, it was the same experience like on the chrono stage. As when I start late at 9, these are these hours of daylight you are missing at the end, and I had to do 100 kilometers of stage during the night together with a nice South African guy. We liaised 80 kilometers before the finish together, and it's nice at least to have somebody with you in the night. Yeah, we did kilometer by kilometer, but it was even worse. We ended in the bivouac at midnight, and then you have to take care of the bike and stuff like that. I even slept with my knee braces not to waste any more time. So I think I've been in the sleeping bag at 1, and then it started all again the next morning again.
At what time?
Yeah, my starting time was around, I think, 8:30, but again you have to prepare. That was again a short night.
And when I'm talking to you now, that was yesterday. So today's the rest day. What do you do on the rest day, and how can you recover? And also, is it more your body or your mind?
Mind-wise, I'm really on 100%. I really don't, let's say, think a second about that the situation is bad for that. So mind-wise, I'm really good, but the body recovers. You feel you're in this repair mode. And I think I will be good tomorrow. This day for sure, a proper sleep, food, and getting some rest, that really helped a lot. So I'm good to go for tomorrow.
And one last question: is this Dakar and the last few days the biggest challenge you've done in your life? Because we all know that you've also done something else.
I had 2 dreams since I'm a little kid. I can't explain why, but it was Mount Everest and Dakar. And, let's say the Everest dream and project I completed 5 years ago. And from that point, I started to train for Dakar. So basically only riding for 4 years, and I'm here now. I'm not the most skilled driver here in the camp. It's amazing the level of expertise, but this is certainly probably the bigger dream I had, the Dakar Rally, and even being here, this is already such a huge step for me, and it's amazing to make it happen, and that I'm allowed to participate. So I'm super grateful for the organization.
Sorry, I know I said that would be the last question, but you only started riding a bike 4 years ago.
Yes, I started riding bikes 4 years ago. So I had a motocross bike when I was 6. It's not that I can come from a poor family, but we didn't have a lot of money, so I never been able to ride bikes as a young boy or a teenager. Then when I started working, I had other hobbies and projects, and basically I only started riding bikes 4 years ago. You can anybody ask here in the industry or in the crowd if they know me, so nobody have heard my name because I haven't done anything in motocross or whatever before. So I just started and worked as hard as I could to make this happen. And the good thing is, if you have a dream and you work hard on it, a lot of things are possible.
You're an incredible human being. What's harder, Everest or Dakar?
This will surprise you. It's when I try to explain rally to my friends, and it's no bullshitting or exaggerating. If Dakar is a 10, Everest is only 3. It was a kindergarten compared to this. There's no bullshit. This is really 100% true. This is the hardest thing I've done in my life.
Thank you so much, man.